Hi, my name is Sandy Priest, and I'm a follower of Jesus Christ and a wounded healer serving as an addictions counselor. I would like to present myself today and the journey toward better communication as I had studied interpersonal communication in this course. In my field, I consider myself a vessel carrying a divine light to shine in the great darkness of addiction. In 2 Corinthians 4:7 of the Bible, Paul says, "We possess this precious treasure, the divine light, in frail human vessels of earth, that the grandeur and exceeding greatness of the power may be shown to be from God and not from ourselves." As this vessel, my overarching goal is to shine. In Isaiah 60:1-2 of the Bible, Isaiah says, "Arise from the prostration and depression in which circumstances have kept you. Rise to a new life. Shine, for the light is come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. Behold, darkness shall cover the earth, and dense darkness all people. But the Lord shall arise upon you, and his glory shall be seen on you." My role is to be a conduit of light of the Lord Jesus Christ, and effective interpersonal communication is the means to achieve that goal. I suggest three types of relationships to address in identifying the importance of interpersonal communication to achieve the goal. First of all, God awareness and my relationship with Him. Stewart talks of the importance of having God in front in his essay on Gracism in the course materials. Secondly, having a self-awareness and my relationship with self. Uniquely You profile promoted a greater self-awareness. And Burley and Allen stated in Listening, page 7, that self-awareness grows as we discover how we communicate, and when self-awareness increases, our ability to interrelate with others increases, which leads to an other awareness and my relationship with others. You see, awareness of these relationships was influenced by my background or my identity construction and my behavioral blend or personality, on which my communication style has come forth. Stewart provides an understanding by categorizing identity as ascribed and avowed. Ascribed identity, according to Stewart, says that others assign an identity you may or may not agree with. For example, a positive example would be that someone might call me a compassionate person. A negative example might be that something from my childhood that I remember is that my father used to call me "yeah, but," which meant that I always questioned everything and he was annoyed. Those two types of examples are ascribed identity. Then there's the avowed identity. Avowed identity is the identity that you assign yourself and eventually act out. A positive example is that one might say that you are someone who's caring or help others. The negative aspect of that or example would be that I found myself insecure and not asserting myself in the way I needed to. So my family background ascribed characteristics that I unconsciously acted out because I embraced the identity as a core belief. Uniquely You profile provides an understanding of personality which is highly influenced by environment and relationships, and categorizes the behavioral blend by ascribed characteristics or public and avowed characteristics or private. The ascribed characteristics according to Uniquely You profile, which I've attributed to Uniquely You profile, is that is which is expected of me or what the public looks at me to see. My profile came up to be a SI, which is a steady influencer behavioral blend. Positive traits of that particular profile are one that is sensitive, inspirational, influential, and induces others. Negative traits of that profile would be that I'm not task-oriented, I do procrastinate, not aggressive enough, and sometimes fearful. Now, the avowed characteristics according to the profile of Uniquely You that I had identified with would be a CIS, which is a competent influencing specialist. This particular one, avowed being that which I think is me, not what the public says of me, but that which is me. The positive traits that I would attribute to that particular behavioral blend would be I like to do things right. I'm good with people. I do great things through people, and I like to stabilize situations. Negative traits might be that I'm poor at quick decision making, I need to be more dominant or determined. I need to be more self-motivated and more assertive. So interesting to see that the influences on my background and personality create my communication style. And communication can be enhanced or challenged by barriers. Barriers that affected my ability to communicate effectively were I would put into three categories again, which would be my relationship with God, my relationship with self, and my relationship with others. With my relationship with God, I found myself putting people before that relationship with Him. With my relationship with self, I found an inability to assert myself. Daniel Ames provides caution in his article, Pushing to a Point, Assertiveness and Effectiveness, by saying an old proverb, which I kind of put towards myself: be not too sweet, lest people swallow you up, yet not too bitter, lest they spit you out. Others, in my awareness of others, I take oftentimes ownership of other people's responsibilities. These three areas can become barriers to my communication. You also can see that both the positive and negative traits were at play in the barriers due to the imbalance of self and others' roles in my interpersonal relationships. So, what is the most helpful resource for me from the course materials was that of the Talker Listener card. I found the Talker Listener card to be most helpful because it promoted healthy mutual communication, providing a structure for first visually and then eventually creating a habit. The strategy for the breaking down of barriers through the Talker Listener card was: 1, it promoted boundaries to identify ownership. 2, it promoted goals for interpersonal effectiveness. And 3, it promoted awareness of communication barriers. So an action plan, or steps to be taken as an action plan to broaden my ability to communicate more effectively, would include a program of recovery in my relationships with God, self, and others. I presented myself earlier as a wounded healer. It's a title provided by Henry Nouwen to describe himself as a priest who struggles with the pain of the past. I am in the profession of healing as a counselor and in recovery for addiction. It was an intervention by Christ that brought me out of the chains of addiction and into a new life. The action plan is a recovery plan that starts with my relationship with God. Mushkin and Helminick acknowledge in their article the importance of spirituality in recovery and identify 3 areas of healing at play. First, there's a greater awareness of self. Secondly, there needs to be a connection with others. And thirdly, to emotionally regulate. In this article, they integrate the psyche and spirituality. And so a recovery action plan would include, for me, my relationship with God would be that God, He needs to be the higher power and not people. As His truth states in Exodus 23 in the Bible, and in relation to self, I need to learn to speak the truth in love, to assert myself with others, as it says in Ephesians 4:15 in the Bible. And then in my relationship with others, I need to let my yes be yes and my no be no, to establish boundaries, as it says in Matthew 5:37 in the Bible. My overarching goal and what I pray for each day is to shine. It was not by chance that the Uniquely You profile implied that I was motivated by opportunities to share and shine, inducing others to follow. This motivation comes from gratitude to God and a pastor and his wife who brought the light of Christ into my very dark world of addiction, beckoning me to a new life. I was comforted and relieved of my chains, and as a counselor, I hope to comfort those who are in any kind of trouble or distress with the comfort by which I was comforted by God. So today I present to you myself, a frail vessel that possesses a divine light, knowing that the light shines brightest through the broken and wounded places so that the greatness and power of God can shine forth. So I arise from my depression and prostration in which circumstances have kept me. I rise to a new life and I shine. Thank you very much.